Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Behind the Grind. So, in today's video, we're going to be talking about a game that I have been completely obsessed with over the past couple of days, and that game is going to be Warhammer 40k Tacticus. Now, Warhammer 40k Tacticus is an online turn-based hero collector in which heroes are unlocked by normal progression, RNG, and microtransactions. Now, this is a mobile game, but you can also install it on your PC, so kind of like how I have it right now. I have it on my PC and I also have it on my phone, so I can take this game and play it anywhere I want to go. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this game is because, well, when it comes to Warhammer 40k games that you can really take with you on the run and just kind of go anywhere you want and just whip out your phone and be able to play, I really think that Warhammer 40k Tacticus is just a game for you. Now, obviously this isn't going to be everyone's type of game. However, I will say and encourage that if you haven't played this game already, you should go ahead and give it a download and check it out for yourself because, well, I really like to play it, and so I'm going to be making a video about it today. So, like I already said, this game is mostly a turn-based hero collector in which, well, the main objective is to collect those heroes, right? So, the main way you want to do this is by naturally progressing through the game by just playing the missions and playing the campaigns. You will slowly unlock more and more characters, and you can also unlock them through the use of RNG. Now, what I mean by this is that as you play and progress through the game, you will unlock a bunch of those loot boxes. This is a loot box heavy game. However, loot boxes are one of those things that you can either choose to engage with actual money or just unlock through natural progression. So even if this game does have the elements of a gacha game, you do not feel forced to engage with it. Of course, if you scroll over to the shop, you will see an endless list of just microtransaction after microtransaction after microtransaction. But I myself haven't spent a single dollar on this game, and you know, I've been progressing just fine. However, progression does have a lot to do with the actual game in and of itself, and a big reason for that is that when it comes to the campaigns playing through the game, you do need a certain amount of characters that are locked through progression in order to access the rest of the content. As you start off playing through Warhammer 40k Tacticus, you get access to the campaign, and the first campaign that you will be playing through is called the Indomitus campaign. Now, within this campaign, you see the Ultramarines face up against the Necrons, and so the game will provide you with the necessary characters in order to play this specific campaign. However, if you want to progress and play through the rest of the campaigns, you do need to unlock the rest of those characters. Like I said before though, if you're naturally playing through the game and you're just doing normal progression, you should slowly unlock these characters the more you play. So overall, we have the main modes, and we're going to start talking about the campaign. So as a baseline, you have the regular campaign, you have the elite version of that campaign, which is a lot harder, and you also have the mirror campaign. Now, the way that the mirror campaign works is it basically takes the original campaign experience and it just flips the sides that you're using. So, in the Indomitus campaign, as you play as the Ultramarines going up against the Necrons, if you're playing through the mirror version of the Indomitus campaign, you will find yourself playing up against the Ultramarines and you will be playing as the Necrons. And so that's how the rest of the campaigns work when it comes to the mirror. So, we have 4 total overall campaigns, being the Indomitus, like I already mentioned, where it's Ultramarines versus Necrons. You have the Fall of Cadia, which is the Black Legion versus the Astra Militarum. You also have the Octarius campaign, which is the Orcs versus mostly Black Templars. There's also a couple of other factions hidden in there. And finally, you have the Saim Han campaign, in which the Eldari face up against the Thousand Sons. And so these campaigns are pretty fun to play, which leads as a pretty good segue to talk about the overall gameplay experience when it comes to this game. So, as you guys can see on screen, and as you guys I'm sure have seen gameplay before if you have not played this game already, this is a hex-based, turn-based tactics game in which you move your heroes to certain hexes on the board, and you attack the enemies' models, all the while using your models to defend the rest of your characters and inflict more damage upon the enemy's characters until you meet a certain objective. The main objective in the most of these campaigns and skirmishes are just going to be eliminating the opposition. So once you kill all of the enemy's characters, then, well, that's pretty much it, man. But it's not as surface level as that. Surprisingly, there's a lot of depth when it comes to the characters and the gameplay within this game. Each character has its own specific set of abilities. They have their own progression, they have their own passive abilities, and they even have synergy. So like running a combination of characters is extremely beneficial when playing through this game. Certain characters can buff other characters and vice versa, and so it's just really beneficial to really know the ins and outs of this gameplay loop, so that way you can just use like the most overpowered teams there are. Like people go crazy with the combinations of characters that you can use in this game, and there's really a lot to it. So the gameplay, while simple, does have enough charm to really encourage people to keep playing the game. Like I said, this is a pretty addicting game, not only because unlocking heroes and opening the loot boxes are pretty addicting. You know, those are just the addicting staples of video games in modern gaming. However, the gameplay loop is interesting enough, and like I said, it does bring that charm to the Warhammer 40k universe, which is usually grim, dark, and not as cartoony as you would think. But this game is, like I said, just pretty fun to play, man, and it's just addicting to do so. Like the art style is also pretty nice, so it kind of brings a lot of that like cheese and charm to Warhammer 40k, which actually works quite well, man. Like the visual appeal of this game is definitely where it's at. It's fun to play, it's fun to look at, and you know, I just can't get enough of it. So moving on from that, we have a bunch of other modes that are separate from the campaign. However, you do reuse these same heroes, so like the hero progression is shared amongst all of the different game modes. And moving on from the campaign, we also have Arena. Now, Arena is pretty interesting, right? So you don't actually engage with another player in PvP in real time. Instead, you will refresh a list of specific arena opponents that you can face up against in a given amount of time, and you will be facing off against their pre-made team. So like, if I have a pre-made team on my game, then somebody can matchmake and find a game against my pre-made team, and that's pretty much how the arena works. It's pretty hard because players have their characters like fully leveled up, and well, if you're not bringing high enough level characters to this game mode, then you're just gonna have a bad time. But it's pretty fun for what it is. It can be pretty competitive, and you know what, learning to fight against these high tier players is definitely very enlightening, because it'll teach you some things that you need to know about the game, right? Even if it's not an actual person that is using these characters, it was an actual person who created this specific team of characters that you're fighting against. And there's a lot to learn when it comes to the way the characters synergize with each other, the way that the AI uses them to move against you. And like I said, Arena is just pretty tough, but it does teach you a lot of good lessons and good tips to learn throughout the game. Moving on from Arena, however, we do have Onslaught. Now, Onslaught is a skirmish type horde mode with a limited amount of rounds and big rewards, and I will say that this is the best mode to grind. So as you guys can see, this is kind of just like a hold your ground, fight off against Tyranids as they come at you, and like I said before, it's pretty addicting, man. You just kind of hold your ground here and Tyranids spawn in, and obviously there's a limited amount of waves, so it's not like an unlimited survival horde mode, but the rewards are big at the end of the day, and this is definitely the mode that you want to be playing if you want to level up your characters. Not only do you unlock a lot of loot boxes from playing this game mode, but you also unlock those big character tokens that are required in order to ascend your character from rarity to rarity. So yeah, go ahead and play Onslaught, man. If you guys haven't been playing Onslaught and you are a Tacticus player, just drop into this, man. This is the best mode in order to grind all of those specific items. Another cool thing about Warhammer 40k Tacticus is that there are also these things called guilds. Now, guilds are online congregations of players that, you know, you can join, and the guild itself can engage in trading, communication, and overall participation in large-scale objectives against really tough bosses. So you guys will get access to guild raids in which like a big boss will show up, and he has like 2 minor sub bosses that everybody can fight against, and everybody deals a collective amount of damage in order to finally destroy them. And at the end of that specific guild raid, everybody will unlock new items and rewards to include loot boxes and just overall guild progression. And you can also participate in Guild War. I'm not a high enough level to participate in Guild War, so I'm not going to be talking about that, but I will go ahead and check that out once I get the opportunity to do so, because from what I've seen online, it also looks pretty interesting, man. And finally, when it comes to the major game modes, we have Salvage Run. Now, Salvage Run is one of those goofy game modes in which I mentioned before that really brings the charm to this game, and it's just a fast-paced get in, get out raid against orcs where looting items is the main objective. It's also pretty good for grinding some of those other items that you need in order to level up, like salvage. And well, it's just goofy, man. Like, you'll be going up against Gretchens and just like orcs coming in, like there will be like gold dropping in from the sky, and like the main objective is just to collect all of the different loot that is scattered around the map, and you get to kill orcs at the same time, man. So it's a lot of good dumb fun, dude. It's definitely something that you should also check out if you've only really been playing campaign or arena or whatever. So all in all, going across all of the game modes that are on offer here for Warhammer 40k Tacticus, I really don't have any complaints with any of them, other than Arena kind of being a little too hard. I'm not sure if the matchmaking there is really all the best, because sometimes I'll be matching up with players who are just like ages ahead of me in terms of like progression, and I can't put up a fight when they're one-shotting every single character of mine, and when I try to attack them, I barely do any damage. But other than that, most of the game modes are really fun to play. They're balanced for the most part. If you guys like level up specific characters, obviously there's meta characters that will just be a complete breeze to go through the game with, but there are a lot of factions in this game that you can use, and the best part about that is in the arena and in other game modes, you can mix and match different factions. So like as a whole, you have Ultramarines, you got Necrons, Black Legion, Orcs, Adeptus Ariatus, you got the Astra Militarum, you got the Death Guard, Eldari, the Tau Empire, the Thousand Sons, the Dark Angels, the Blood Angels. Recently added were the Emperor's Children, and there's just a bunch of different factions that you can use. And so when you're playing through the Imperial missions, you will be able to mix and match like Space Wolves, Black Templars, Ultramarines, Dark Angels, and when you're playing through the Chaos missions, you'll be able to use like a mix of World Eaters, Death Guard, Black Legion, Thousand Sons, Emperor's Children, or when you're playing through the Xenos missions, you'll be able to use the Tau, the Orcs, the Tyranids. Like I'm saying, man, like you get to mix and match characters from all different factions in this game. And that's what I really like to see out of a Warhammer 40k game, dude, is that it's really nice and refreshing from time to time to see a game that, at the end of the day, doesn't necessarily take itself very seriously. And that's the best way that I can summarize Warhammer 40k Tacticus, is that it's a game that's serious, but, you know, it has fun with itself, dude, because there's nothing cooler than being able to run through a mission in which you mix and match all of these different characters. And, you know, you got some pretty awesome central characters like Calgar's in here, Titus is in here, Typhus of the Death Guard is in here, Ahriman of the Thousand Sons is also around, Khorne Berserkers like frickin' Karn the Betrayer is also here, Neurothropes from the Tyranids. So you get access to a lot of different heroes to collect here, and well, that's just where most of the fun is at, dude. Like unlocking these characters and actually using them within the actual game is where most of the fun is at. But Warhammer 40k Tacticus is just a game for you if you want to go ahead and just kind of relax or carry a game in your pocket that is on your phone to just kind of whip out from time to time and just kind of like play without much thought. It's really that easy to just whip out and just start playing, man. The game is actively getting updated all the time. And so once again, I want to encourage everybody to go ahead and check out Warhammer 40k Tacticus if you haven't done so already. And so that's pretty much all I have to say about Warhammer 40k Tacticus, man. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I've been completely obsessed. I can't put this game down, man. At work, I'll find myself just sitting on my phone, being a piece of shit, just kind of playing Warhammer 40k Tacticus when I'm really not supposed to be. But like I said, this game is extremely addicting. I'm obsessed with it, and you guys should go ahead and check it out. But the most important part of this video is, while I was planning on covering this game sooner or later, this is the best time to cover this game because I want to go ahead and mention that I will soon be engaging in a partnership with the community team behind Warhammer 40k Tacticus to kind of sponsor the game and showcase it to my viewers, because, well, I want you guys to go ahead and play this game, and we're going to be engaging in a partnership moving forward. So I will be showcasing this game and sponsoring their game for them, and, well, I want to appreciate everybody for checking out Warhammer 40k Tacticus. Go ahead and check it out. Let me know in the comments section down below if you have played this game before, and if you have any tips for new players, go ahead and share them in the comment section as well. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like, subscribe if you are not already. Also, if you wish to support the channel further, like this great guy Foxy, I'd encourage you to join the channel membership for exclusive perks. I'm so grateful for all the members, and your generosity is extremely appreciated, man. Thanks a lot once again. This has been Behind the Grind, talking about how great Warhammer 40k Tacticus is. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace!